Vandeham Shri Guru.
This topic is qualities that make us human. So Will and I were talking about how to get this started. This came because last week he asked a question, and that sort of was the gestation for this topic, right? The question, we were talking about descending knowledge, and he asked what is the relationship between descending knowledge and compassion. How compassion is an integral aspect of a descending system. And in an ascending system, the integral aspect is challenge. Want to discover, want to own something. So a natural discussion would be qualities that make us human. And for some of us it will be a review, for some of us it will be new. It is described that for all living entities, across all the 8,400,000 species, these things are common. Eating, sleeping, what's called mating, and defending. All living entities do it. Whether they are biped, quadruped, reptilian, does vertebrate, invertebrate, doesn't matter. Somehow or the other, these four are what drive them for survival, for doing what they're doing. And it is said that human beings also do these. So then why are human beings considered so special? Just because human beings can construct buildings? I mean, we make buildings. But there are some birds who can make nests like we can't even figure out how they put it all together. If it's a matter of eating, then there are certain animals like a vulture, flies high up in the sky and can trace one dead body even if at the height of 2 miles away. You can like hone in right into a perfect dead body. But the Vedic literature, I guess, laughs at it. It says, such perfect eyesight. For what? For zeroing in on dead bodies. Like, wow. You understand? So eating, sleeping, mating, I mean, for human beings, this is such a big thing. In fact, the whole world is going on because of this. Right? If there were no sex, there would be no motivation to doing anything for most people. It's all about that. But there are some animals that do it so fantastically. A monkey can have sex 20 times in an hour and have a great time. And human beings cannot match that. But that's not human life. And defending. Every species has something that it is, I guess, that is inherent to it, that it can defend against any attack. Tigers have claws and fangs, snakes have poison or venom, birds have height and speed or beaks, skunk has very, very smelly urine. That's what a skunk does. You attack a skunk and he urinates, a really bad smell that all of his opponents will go away. The porcupine or squirrels. The human being has, for his or her defense, many things. Weapons, and most importantly, words. Speech. Has both a defense and an offense. It's sometimes said that the best defense is the best offense. So we say things, my gosh, that can break all defense and weapons of other people. Anyway, jokes aside, this is what the 4 characteristics of human beings and animals are. However, the Vedic literature says that there is more to human beings. And before I get there, like, you're coming here for the first time?
Yeah.
Name, what do you do on campus?
I'm Priya.
Okay.
I'm here for my major in computer science.
Okay.
Yeah, from India, Nasik.
And when did you come here? Just new first semester?
Yeah.
Oh, welcome, Priya.
My name is Nityananda. I'm majors in computer engineering.
Uh-huh.
I'm from Mumbai. Actually, I visited the temple last Sunday. This Sunday. I came around for this.
Okay, very good. Nice to meet you. So yeah, these four. And it said that there is something beyond this. It says, the word used in the Sanskrit language is dharma. Now this has many, many connotations. Most importantly, it means understanding the higher purpose of life. So for this series of presentations that we will be making on this topic, I don't think I can cover it in 45 minutes. So we will do it as a series. So starting today, we are going to, for the sake of this series, use the definition of dharma as relationships. And it is harmonious with the actual definition of dharma. I'll explain. There are many great sages and thinkers and scholars and personalities who are called self-effulgent, meaning they're extremely enlightened persons. They define dharma, generally dharma is defined as some religion or some faith or some common principles that everyone agrees to or something. But they define dharma as a quality that is inherent or intrinsic of that thing. So the dharma of water would be liquidity. The dharma of sugar would be sweetness, like that. That's the inherent quality. That's what defines or makes that entity what it is. So the human beings, the dharma of human beings is relationships. Is relationships. Actually, relationships of a particular type. It's described that you see that human beings, what they do in whatever circumstance they are, is that they are serving. Human beings are serving. Husband serves the wife, wife serves the husband, the parents serve the children, children serve the parents. One human being serves another human being. You go to McDonald's and they say, "How may I serve you?" Across marketing, the big theme is customer service. When you go on a plane, they smile at you, throw the little packet of peanut, and they call it service. You go to a hotel, there's a button. If you press, it says room service. That's the idea. Service is what encompasses everything that human beings do. And for those persons who cannot find relationships of service, then they have little pets. And they serve their pets. They have a parakeet. They talk to the parakeet. They even reveal their heart. Today such and such person said like that. They talk to their dog like that. They talk to their cats like that. They talk to their parakeets. I mean, just all over the thing. So service. Okay, that's what is the dharma of human beings. Now, can you serve this table? Can you serve this table? No. Why? Because this table is inanimate. So service means other persons or other living beings, conscious living beings. And when we serve someone, we develop a... I'm prompting you. You don't have to even think about it.
Relationship.
Relationship. Just say it. Relationship. We form a relationship, a connection, a conscious connection with people, just because we're serving them. And if you serve the same person again and again, then you form a bond, a strong connection, a relationship. In fact, in some of the hotels, their expertise is that if a customer comes back, so the Ritz-Carlton, if the customer ever comes back, when the reservation is made, as the customer walks in, from the doorman to the concierge, they will all say, Mr. Roy, welcome back. So nice to have you back. And they all know the names. How? We don't know. But that's what they work on. Of course, it's all for money. But you get the idea. Because they've been serving again and again, there's a connection. We're not talking because of money. It's a profit enterprise. So take away that, but you get the idea. And then the person feels, oh, that's very nice. And when you enter the room, they will organize the room exactly the way you like it. So each room is different. Some people like their bed this way, some people like their bed that way, some people like this in their room, some people don't like that. And then they break it down to very minute details of persons, what they call preferences. It is said that we care for our guests, that's what they mean, and so the guests like. So there is a relationship. Now that's completely mundane, but the point is there's a relationship. Why? Because there is service. Service has three components. Served. We're going to use the word servant or service, server, and service. Yeah. Now, if the person servant, is serving this person, the served, one of the most important things is that this person must be satisfied or pleased. That means this servant must be clear, aware of what are the preferences, likes, dislikes of the person they're serving. Correct? That's one. Second, whatever they're doing for the served must be for the benefit of the served. If I do something for you for my benefit, is that service? No. That is business. I'm looking for my benefit in doing something for you. That means I don't care for you. So service naturally then has to be for the pleasure of and according to the needs of the served. So service is something that is intrinsic to all, I'm going to say, living entities, especially in the human beings. Now living entities also serve, meaning of course the dogs serve human beings, and in America even the human beings serve the dogs. In fact, the dogs have a better time than the human beings. He may be a CEO of a big shot company. He must be making a couple of $1 million annual income. He must be having 20,000 employees follow his order. But in the morning when a dog is dropping, he has to pick it up. He's serving his dog. So keep this in mind as we go through this idea of dharma and in the context of what the human life is meant for, or what the human life, what the values, what are the qualities of being a human. So now, in this context of serving for the benefit of others, because that's service, that's our inherent quality, what do you think are some of the ways or qualities that manifest or should manifest for a person who's serving properly? Was the question clear? If if dharma, if our inherent nature is to serve, and service means for the benefit of other living beings or other entities, what qualities manifest in service?
Kindness.
There you go.
Respect.
Humility.
Sneha?
I said the same thing, actually.
How about
Gratitude.
anything you want to try? Take a guess. Something.
Loyalty.
Thank you. Loyalty? You're a marketing person. Okay. Something else? Ginger?
Satisfied.
Satisfied? I'm looking for the qualities with which we serve.
Okay.
Care?
Yeah.
Is that different from compassion?
A bit.
How? I mean, how?
Compassion is like the superlative of care.
I see. Other things? Chris, you want to try something?
Trust.
Huh?
Trust.
Trust. Very good. That means we should be trustworthy. Only when we are trustworthy will our service be valid. Right? Suppose I say to you, I will give you something, I promise you, and I don't show up. I'm not trustworthy.
Honesty.
Oh, fantastic. Something? How about
It's the same as humility.
a little different? Pridelessness. How about non-violent? I mean, if I beat up the person I'm serving, that's my service. I want to beat you up. Something else.
Equipoised.
Very good. I'm going to use the word stable, because equipoise is a little stable-minded, not whimsical. Today I will come at 4 o'clock to serve, tomorrow 7 o'clock, third day not show up, fourth day make a commitment and be there at 3 o'clock when I'm supposed to be at 4, just all over the place. Okay, anything else? How about this one? Would you hire somebody who's not trained? Would you hire somebody if they're not trained?
No.
Why are we going through a school?
Train.
Training. Yeah, there it is. Obvious. That's why. Supposed to be trained. And what else? Loyalty. And I'm going to use the word. Is dedicated to serving. And there are other things. Trained. Humility. So I'm going to say willingness to learn. What else? Can take feedback. You tell somebody, I don't want you to serve this way, serve that way, and they say, I resign. Okay? Now, we may not be talking about all these qualities because I want to hone in on a few things. I want to hone in on discussion on certain qualities that are important for developing our spiritual natures. Because I'm not here to, I don't come to IIT to teach you how to do better in your physics or chemistry or computer engineering or architecture. I'm not here for that. And you shouldn't take my advice either. I'm here to, I guess, teach, share, and learn some of the qualities that bring out the true human being in us. If this is something in this area, if I'm just teaching or sharing how to eat better, sleep better, mate better, defend better, then I haven't done anything for you. There's ample out there in the marketplace. There are ample persons teaching these things. They have books called The Idiot's Guide to, and they have a whole long list of things. So when we buy that book, we are accepting that we are, because it's an idiot's guide. Or whatever, self-help kind of books, the DIY books. You know, there's a very famous, this is very popular. You know what DIY means, right? Yeah. You know what this means, right? These two words you should know in America, especially for you just coming in. You just come in. These two are very important. This you should do, and this you should not. DIY means do it yourself. So everything in America is DIY. You go to the gas station, you fill your own gas. You go to the coffee shop, you make your own coffee, you pay them for it. Everything you do. They will smile, take your money, give you a coffee, and then you have to find your own lid and whatever things. It's mostly DIY. You go to a furniture store, you buy a bookshelf, it comes in a box, you bring it home, it's all DIY. And why am I sticking? DUI means driving under the influence of alcohol. So this, if someone, the police catch you this day, DUI, finish, no more driving. Arrested and all. Depends on how much above 0.08 alcohol. I don't know, I don't drink, so. Anyway, besides. So my contribution is more on the side of the finer aspects of our natures. So that's why I'm here, because that's how I am trained, or I am being trained. So the finer aspects actually give us the real relish in life. It is not the other things, you know, the gross things, money or a big house. This is what people aspire for. But imagine being in a big house and completely lonely, or in a big house and everyone is fighting with each other. Then that's not where we get taste of life. Taste of life comes from the finer aspects of things. And that's what is, I guess, the gap in human society. So we're trying to bridge that gap. We're trying to at least address it for ourselves. So there are certain qualities. And I like to talk about three main ones. One is called inquisitiveness, or more it's called inquiry. The spirit of inquiry, wanting to know. Second is very, very important, humility. Like a person cannot do well in life without humility. There is material humility, and I'm not going to address that. There is something called spiritual humility. And the third, my favorite, If we have nothing else and just this, we can go very far in life. And it is said that one who has minimally these three, they can approach truth with a... So those of you who were not here last week, we discussed how to approach truth. We didn't even define truth. We only defined knowledge, because knowledge is an aspect of truth. So I'll quickly summarize. We said knowledge means to know something as it is. So Maurice was here last week and I said, how do I have knowledge about this marker? How do I know that this is a marker? I could use it for other things. I could throw it at someone. I could use it as a paperweight. I can use it to, roll out and just spend time and I guess be happy a little bit. Whatever. But unless I use it as a marker, I don't have full knowledge of it, or real knowledge about it. How do I know that this is meant to be a marker? How do I know?
Ask the creator.
So he said, ask the creator. The person who made the marker will tell you, this is why it was made. And when I use it as a marker, then I'm using it in its true purpose. Similarly, knowledge about anything means to know something as it is. And I'm now repeating last week's. We try different ways to find truth or knowledge. We do the experimental methods, our theories, hypotheses, testing. We look for probability of occurrence, all of the fancy things. So that's one way, and the other way was ask the creator. It's a very easy way. Ask the creator. So this inquisitiveness, meaning the spirit of inquiry, is to ask. Why like this? Why not like this? What does this mean? What does that mean? So there are two ways of inquiring. One is inquiring on our own, trying to figure out on our own strength, and that can be an endless task. You never get there. Another way is to ask the persons who know the truth. So the first order of business is to find the person who knows, or persons who know the truth. Right? And then ask. And when we meet such persons, these two are very necessary. If the inquiry is challenging, that means it lacks humility. Means I don't know and I want to know. Because it's true, we don't know. We don't know many things. In fact, we don't know anything. The few things that we know are coming by a dint of experience. And we can't rely only on experience, because my experience can be very different from someone else's experience. But truth doesn't change because circumstances have changed, or time has changed, or the persons have changed. So humility is very essential. Actually, humility feeds the spirit of inquiry. Because the day I think I know everything, I will stop asking. I will stop inquiring. And truth is something that is unlimited. So as long as, if our humility is limited, then we don't access truth. So actually, we discussed this last week, that when we write our resume, some of you may not write right away, but whoever does, we write a long series of what? Skills and accomplishments. But nobody writes who we are, and nobody cares to know who we are. Right? They only want to know what you can do for the employer. Yeah? They don't care if you're humble. They don't care if you're really gentle or grateful. We don't care. Can you get this work done? So they don't look for qualities. They look for skill. And most people also get trained. One of the qualities we wrote was trained. in educational systems get trained in skills. They don't get trained in qualities. And the very word education means to awaken one's character. So an educational system must awaken one's character. We end up with a bunch of characters, but what we want is awaken true character. So humility is the way to get there. And the third is gratitude. Gratitude is, I've received something, some knowledge of the truth, and I'm very grateful for it. And that gratitude is expressed as service. The other reasons why people serve is money or some other ulterior motive. But service that is based on gratitude is genuine. Before you guys came in, we went through what is service, what is the meaning of things. So these three things, these three qualities help us access truth or knowledge. That's what I come here to talk about. These are the qualities of human that make us human. And from this truth, when we access truth, truth has a whole list of characteristics, just as we do. Humility, kindness, compassion. We didn't write in our list love at all. In fact, that's the one thing that everyone's looking for. What does that mean? What does love mean? We have a whole idea, our idea of love hovers around this one. Mostly. But that's not love. Service is love. And we'll discuss why that's the case as we build it. So, any comments, questions? A question mark on your face, so tell me.
So, like those three kind of factor, which one is the most important?
What?
Which one is the most important that can help us to touch truth?
What is the most important one? This is the one that feeds everything else. If this is not there, this is just a show. If this is not there, this doesn't exist. This is the feeding quality. The most important one. But the life giver that feeds this, it works like this. This feeds this feeds this, and then this feeds this. So this is demonstrated. This is an internal quality. Of course, this is what you feel as well inside, but this is demonstrated. You can't demonstrate humility. Our idea of humility is, someone very, meek and cannot speak and shivering. That's not humility. Next week we'll define humility in a very practical way. I'll say it now, and you guys can mull over it, and when we meet next week, we'll talk about it. The word humility actually means to act in one's true position. When we act according to our position, we're called humble. Or we have the quality of humility. So, for example, we're in an organization and we're an employee and we're talking to the CEO. Suppose we walk into the CEO's office and tell him, you guys, you absolutely don't know anything. I will tell you, sit down and listen to her. What would you be doing after that? Writing about your character. the CEO will say, here's a character, take him out. When you act in your position, the one is humble. Then we'll talk more. We'll talk about what's a real position. We are a living entity, soul, and then there's a position for that soul. in relation to the truth.
In the beginning, you don't know your true position. So is it best to assume you don't know everything at then?
That's why we have to ask. Always. Remember, the last week's point was ask the Creator. That means knowledge descends from one source down to others, generation after generation. That's the descending system. And the best way to know truth is to ask. Inquire, actually. Versus trying to figure it out on our own intellectual or mental capacities, or with those capacities.
In the previous example you gave about the marker, like if I didn't know what a marker was and I saw a marker, then would I be correct in saying that the way I come to know, like the way I kind of ask the Creator what the marker is by basically just experimenting with the marker myself?
Yeah, you can.
Would that be a stretch, or is it?
That would be, but that would, in the case of marker it might work. But in the case of other things in the world, it might not. And it's the field of science and technology and research. That's one, trying to get a marker and figure out what is to be done with it. The trial and error method. So last week we were joking. The trial and error method means that for all the errors, there are so many trials. Trial and error method leaves room for more error. More for error.
So it's not preferable, or is it?
It is not conclusive.
But is it possible to
No.
not what I'm saying is
Will you
Is
come
it
to the
the only
conclusion
way?
that this is a marker by trying different things?
yeah is
In
it,
the case of marker, maybe. In the
okay.
case of phenomena around us, no.
But in the case of other phenomena,
No.
is it possible is it possible to learn of it without trial and error? No. So
We have no
yeah.
other faculty other than
Okay.
trial and error. The trial and error faculty is the mind and intelligence, along with the 5 senses. These all together are into the trial and error method.
So some degree of error is always inevitable.
Yeah, of course. That's true. That's true in even our research. There's always error. And the whole research, the money spent in what? In minimizing errors. Right? The RMS error. True? When we do research and we're trying to plot a graph across our data, the whole research is done, how can I minimize the root mean square error? So the descending system is the error-free system. It's also very easy. Time doesn't take much time. The topic we had discussed last week was, how do I know who's my father? So we have a trial and error method, and then we have the direct method. Ask the mom. Ask mom. Are you thinking, what if mom doesn't know? No.
What if though?
That's right. We did say, if mom doesn't know, she needs to go to Jerry Springer. There may be such cases.
Okay.
But in general, it's not true that mother doesn't know. In fact, in most cases, all cases. Even the Vedas given one example of where a mother doesn't know. There was a young boy who went to Gautam Rishi and said, I want to learn from you. And he said, I only accept certain, he said, Brahmana boys. Who's your father? He said, I don't know, I have to go find out. And he asked his mother. She says, I don't know. When I was young, I had many men as partners. I don't know. So he comes back to Gautama Rishi and he says, my mother says she doesn't know. He says, that quality of abject honesty that you have is a Brahmanical quality. So I will accept it. Anyway. Anything else? I'm just laying the ground for discussion here, meaning for a series, to build on the series.
I still like I'm not under like so there's two ways to know. One is the trial and
Hold on.
error, and
Did you either see the video of our last
No.
week's I highly recommend.
okay.
We spent about an hour plus at this, and I don't think I'm going to spend a whole hour again. And if I say in one sentence or two, it'll leave you dissatisfied. Just go back to our last week's presentation. And on top of that, if you have questions, I'm happy to.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's just going to take away time from others.
Okay.
Okay, if nothing else, let's have lunch.